Welcome back everyone to our second race of the night, which means race number 6 in the Einstein League of the Scientist Reverse Grid League. We're here at Abu Dhabi, and fortunately the races around Abu Dhabi on F1 2021 or F1 2020 earlier are much more exciting and intense than the normal race in Formula 1 around here. Much more overtaking, much more risks that our drivers take in just a 25% race with reverse grid. As you can see, DHABI is now on the grid. He had to miss out on Australia. He's back for the second race, and he will start, of course, at the back. So with our reverse grid means that the last finisher from the race in Australia, Fragile Tunnel, will start on pole as he finished in P9, and everyone else who DNF'd will start from P10 down to P14. DHABI in P15, but you will see that in a few seconds as soon as the grid will be seen. And as usual, we take our formation lap, and all the other details will be shown as soon as we're there. As you can see, Fragile Tunnel here in P1. On the full track map, you can follow lap data and telemetry, of course, enabled, so you can see how much ERS is left. This time we have a dry track, which means people can use the ERS more often, and it won't get back that quickly, especially with the long straights around here. We also have a look at position changes, pit stops, the tires and the penalties. And looking at the tires, we can already see that almost everyone is starting on softs. Only Jaden on the alternate strategy within the top 10. He's starting in P7 on mediums, DHABI on P12 on mediums, and Verstappen on mediums. That means that the Red Bulls this time have a different strategy. Casto starting on softs and Verstappen on mediums. DHABI in last place is also starting on softs, so he'll probably hope to gain a lot of positions here in the beginning to make the softs work and have a good solid stint on mediums in a second stint. Fragile Tunnel leading the start. He's starting from pole position, behind him GMAC, Instant Racer P3, Eskimo starting in P4, Motion P5, Dacunia P6, Jaden behind him, Casto, and will to be our winner from Australia, starting in P9 as we only have 9 finishes. Gerardin, the last one who DNF'd, that means he's starting in P10, Collier on P11, DHABI on P12, Hugh P13, and as mentioned, Verstappen and DHABI at the back. So let's see what Fragile Tunnel and all the guys at front are able to do here, as we have Instant Race and Eskimo disqualified from the formation lock. There must have been contact, otherwise you don't get disqualified, which results in cold tires at the start for P3 and P4. And Instant Racer had the pleasure of experiencing that at Australia, and that resulted in a big spin and a crash into the wall and the loss of his front wing. So let's see if he can manage to do the start this time a little bit better. We could also see that Eskimo's talking in the lobby chat, so I think he's not very pleased with the outcome of that little touchy touch. But all things aside, we're here at the start in Abu Dhabi. 5 red lights are out right now. Well, we know how this works. Codemaster's a little bit late as always, as we are starting now. Fragile Tunnel winning the start, but GMAC has a very good start going down the inside, claiming P1 already. Up to P1, Fragile Tunnel P2, Instant Racer P3, Dacunia P4, and Eskimo seems like is losing a lot of positions here. He's down to P9 now, has to defend against DHABI. DHABI already gained 4 positions. Jordan down to P15. You're also lost some positions. Let's keep an eye on that. Durdan lost 5, you're 1. Corleone 2. Moshe lost 2 and Eskimo lost 5 positions. That's a proper heartbreak. Fragile Tunnel down to P4 now. He's been attacked by Castro behind in his Red Bull, who sees the gap there opening. Jaden with a 5-second penalty for corner cut and gaining 1 position. And he's fighting against Fragile Tunnel here on the inside on his mediums. Fragile Tunnel backing off. That opens the door for Walterby, who's now up to P6, and Moshe P7 down the inside. Oh, and Deepers are going through too. Eskimo now side by side with Fragile Tunnel. Yellow flags as we have Yor and Durdan. Maybe a collision here between both. We're at the back. G-Max still in P1. Very hectic and intense turn 1, lap 1 around here. G-Mac in P1. Ticunia P2, an instant race, I think, in the wall. He's in the wall. He lost his car. He's losing a lot of positions here. Down to P12, P13. Horrible for him. Ticunia P2, Castro P3, Jaden P4, Walterby now P5. Everyone behind gated position. Yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. I think someone had a spin here. It's Yor who had the spin and is going into the pits now. And that seemed like a reset to track. But we will watch that later. Right now, Yor's in the pits in last place, P15. And Yutsikev, who started in P15, is already up to P7, followed by his teammate Corleone in P8, who got overtaken now by Moshe, who's up to P7 and very close behind Yutsikev, who's switching to his onboard. Let's see if he can make something happen here against Yutsikev. Well, it seems like he's staying behind. What does Corleone do? And he's staying behind in P8. Very close together in the field. He only Jaden with a penalty right now, 5 seconds. Jaden and D Bizzle on mediums have a beautiful start up to P4 and P5. So they make the alternate strategy work here. As Corleone is pressurizing Moshe here with sector 3 in Abu Dhabi. G-Mac is the fastest lap right now, 1:37.8. As Castro is pitting already on lap 3. I think this is down to some damage he has. Yep, and the front wing gets changed. So front wing damage for Castro, who switches to the mediums. And we have Corleone out of the race. Corleone out of the race. He binned it after turn 2. We have a virtual safety car. And that helps everyone who's pitting right now. And that's everyone, including Castro and behind Castro. And even Castro has his advantage here of the virtual safety car, as he pitted before the virtual safety car came out, but half of his pit stop has been on the virtual safety car, and he has to be very careful with the Delta right now. We lost Corleone, unfortunately. He's out of the race. Yor switched to the hard tires. Everyone is respecting the Delta here after their pit stops. It's very tricky to get that right, but it seems like everyone has done it beautifully. So Castro down to P9 on his mediums now, and he has to make these tires work until the end of the race. G-Mac still in P1, already has a gap of 4.5 seconds to the Pinion P2. Jaden up to P3 and Deeb is up to P4 because Castro in P3 headed to pit. Yutsikev up to P5. Moshe P6, Fragile Tunnel in P7, Dirt on P8. And Castro P9, the virtual safety car is still out. So everyone who pitted had a massive advantage here. Losing around 7 to 8 seconds less than under normal circumstances, and the virtual safety car is off now. We got to Staten with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Very unfortunate for him, who's in P13. still on softs. Everyone behind him, in front of him, is on mediums, and he's on fresh softs. So that means if there is no other safety car, he will finish or has to finish the race on his new soft tires. And Yutsikev is very close behind DHABI, able to use DRS here, claiming P4. But DHABI has the chance to re-overtake Yutsikev because he will have DRS right now. Of course, we're switching to onboard. It seems like the gap is too big, and Yutsikev also has DRS, so no chance for DHABI to get P4 back right now. But yeah, Yutsikev starting P15 up to P4 already. Very good result right now. But we're still only on lap 4 of 14, so a lot of laps to go. And all the sectors have their specialties when it comes to the curbs, when it comes to traction. So let's see what will happen here. But Casto, on his fresh mediums, maybe has a chance. Yeah, no. I wanted to say he has a chance to get back to the top 3, but his wing is completely gone, as you can see. Which means he has to pit again, and he will be last, or at least P13 after his pit stop. Very unfortunate for him. Eskimo now behind him, trying to overtake him. Casto has every right to defend his position here. Although he has a damaged wing, but Eskimo has to overtake him now. He does so. Instant Racer also overtaking him. Casto now going into the pits. Verstappen's teammate right behind him overtakes him now, while Castro's going into the pits. G-Max still in P1, Verstappen with the fastest lap, 1:36.1. But right now it seems like Jaden and DHABI are on a very, very good strategy. Yutsikev with a lot of pace on these softs, making them work beautifully. G-Mac with a good gap, around 5 seconds to Kunya, who has a gap of 1.5 to Jaden, who's under attack by Yutsikev. Yutsikev gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, so he's not even on penalty. Jaden has even got 5 seconds. But it's very tricky to see what happens here, as Jaden will be on softs after his pit stop. So some good strategy calls here by the drivers to say who gains on which tactic the most. And we have Casto and Yor going at it. Yor will have the DRS on Casto now in the fight for P13, and at that time we unfortunately missed the pit stop of G-Mac, who's now on to mediums. Everyone else of course gained a position because of that, and Casto was able to defend himself against Yor and has to do it again on this straight using his DRS to make it work. Yor was showing himself in the mirror of Casto, but no chance to overtake him here. Switching back to the leader, Kunya. We've got Jaden behind him with the use of DRS going for the overtake, but Yutsikev is also right behind there. So Kunya has to be very careful to not get overtaken by both of these guys. He's trying to stay behind Jaden here as close as he can to get the DRS, but very good exit by Yutsikev, who has more ERS to use than Kunya, trying to overtake him around the outside. Kunya pushed him off the racing line there a little bit. He's entitled to, and he did so. And I think Kunya is close to a pit stop here. So let's see what will happen on these next 1 to 2 laps, as I see everyone going into the pits on the next 2 laps, regardless of strategy. Seems to struggle a little bit on the tires. He's going into the pits. Yutsikev is doing the same. You have to be very careful, boys, at the pit entry not to crash into each other. Doing a very good job, both of these guys. So let's see who wins the battle here in the pits. Yutsikev only tire change. Same for Kunya. Let's see who has the better launch out of the pits. Oh, Kunya ghosting into Yutsikev. Very, very close, but with pit limiter off, Yutsikev has to be very careful behind D'Cunha here in that slow and nasty section. At the pit exit, G-Mac has overtaken both with the little undercut he did, and D'Cunha under threat from Yutsikev right now. Oh, Yutsikev pushing D'Cunha a little bit. Not too bad, of course. He will have the DRS now on D'Cunha, staying on board to see if he's able to get him, but it had a little wobble at the exit of the hairpin. But G-Mac with a beautiful undercut here, the gap to D'Cunha up to 6 seconds. So let's see where D-Bizzle and Jaden will come out on their pit stops. We'll stay on board with Yutsikev right now to see if he can catch D'Cunha here. More ERS, the DRS of course, and that looks better than on the lap before. This very hard, D'Cunha not leaving any space to Yutsikev here, defending the position. The heart rate must be very high by both of them. A very hard battle between these two. D'Cunha defending his position here, of course, down on ERS. He's trying to make Yutsikev use all of his ERS so they're level on their weapons. And Yutsikev also with a 3-second time penalty, so D'Cunha tries to defend his position here as good as he can. Let's see if Yutsikev maybe has damage, because he lost a few tens here. It seems like the wing, the wing looks good right now. And let's see what Jaden and D-Bizzle are doing. Both still out on track, both on mediums of course, because of their strategy. But they have to come in, I think, now on lap 8. And as we've been around the leaders or the top 5 a lot, we won't forget the guys behind in P6, Walterby, Verstappen in P7, Instant Racer P8, Eskimo P9, Moshe P10, Frederick Tunnel right now in P11, Duradan P12, Castle 12.5 behind Duradan after his second pit stop because of wing damage, and your last place right now P14 on hard tires as he had to pit very early in the race. And now with Jaden here in sector 3, I think he has to pit now on this lap to make the soft tires work long enough, and he is pitting. I think D-Bizzle will do the same. Yep, he's also coming in. So G-Mac right now our net race leader. Let's see where he will be at the end of Jaden pit stops. So Jaden has a 5-second penalty, which hurts him a lot here. D-Bizzle out of his pit box already, but he had a wing change, so Jaden didn't lose the position to D-Bizzle, but G-Mac gaining a lot of time here by just doing the undercut. And we have yellow flags in sector 3. I think it was Eskimo who caused the yellow flags. Let's see if his wing is okay. It seems like it is. Yeah, it is. He's down to P10. Yutsikev again in the pits. Yeah, Yutsikev must have had wing damage from his battle with D'Cunha, so he had to pit again. He's on fresh softs right now, but that means he's down to P11, P12. And Castle is also there, but it seems like Yutsikev will come out on P12. He's coming on P11 because Instant Racer has crashed into the wall, lost his front wing, and has to go one whole lap without his front wing. On lap 9 he crashed, Castle behind. He doesn't know about the damage, he's dive bombing him, he's doing it cleanly because of course Instant Racer has no chance of defending that position. Very unfortunate for him, he's down to last place. It's your DNF from the race, P13 for Instant Racer. 3-second time penalty for D'Cunha 2 now, who has ended up behind Jaden and D-Bizzle, only 2.6 behind. D-Bizzle has a gap of 5.4 to Walterby, but of course with a 3-second time penalty everything is possible here. Verstappen recovering up to P6. Let's have a closer look at the position changes, and as you can see, D-Bizzle with a beautiful race gained 9 positions from P12 to P3. Jaden with 5 to P2, and also Chestappen with 8 positions gained from P14 to P6. And Yutsikev still gained 6 positions, although he had to pit twice, but he's very close to Eskimo, which means he's in the DRS range. So he's just going for recovery here. As we have yellow flags, Duradon is out of the race. He crashed into the pit wall, and we have a safety car. He crashed into the pit wall, and we still have Instant Racer out on track with his down front wing. The safety car is very good news for him, as he can pit now, change his front wing, go into the soft tires, and has a very good sprint race on his soft without a penalty, and will be bunched up right behind all the other guys. So very good news for Instant Racer, but let's see if anyone decides to pit too. So we only have 2.5 seconds between the leaders, which means P1 to P3. And GMAC is the one on mediums, and Dacunia the next one. So P2 and P3 possibly won't pit, as they are already on soft. But let's see what GMAC is doing. I think he's going for track position. Why would he do a pit stop at this pit lane, which is so long? But he's proven me completely wrong. He's going into the pits, and it's changing to soft tires. Dacunia, what is he doing? Is he staying out? Is he going to the pits? It seems like he's going to the pits too. Walterby also pitting. Now they're just copying the strategy of the guy in front, which is absolutely not bad. But Chestappen now on very old softs, I think. 7 laps old soft. But of course, he's going for track position because he can save his soft tires now behind the safety car. He's gaining another 3 positions, up to P3 now. And I think his strategy is just to save his tires behind the safety car and go for another 2 or 3 laps. Full speed on these softs, make them work until the end, and maybe get a good position in that race. So GMAC, yeah, we'll have to say GMAC only lost 2 positions. He's out in P4. Mosher stayed out on track. He's in P5 right now. Dacunia changed to soft, fresh softs. He's down to P6 now. Walterby also changed his tires. He's P7. Eskimo stayed out on mediums. P8 for him. Yutsikev already pitted 1 lap earlier, which means he still has fresh softs. Fragile Tunnel staying out on mediums. Casto pitted again for fresh soft. Of course, he has nothing to lose. He already was kind of at the back. So what he's doing is just, with no penalties, getting a set that is as fresh as it can be. And we've seen that Chestappen got a 5-second penalty for a collision with DHABI, which will probably result in getting 5 seconds off DHABI's time, and the 5 seconds will stay with Chestappen as he's the car behind and has to be careful what happens in front of him. But the safety car is still out on that level of 14, and we have still a few cars that are not bunched up with all the other guys, and it's from Eskimo down to Instant Racer. That means from P8 down to P12 the cars are not there yet. The safety car is staying out for another lap, which means that everyone has a chance to close the gap. They possibly will do it. That means we have a proper sprint lap 13 and 14, only 2 laps, 2-lap sprint race, no DRS available for these laps, only ERS. So the biggest advantage you can have here is a fresh set of soft tires. Of course, Jaden and DHABI will have kind of fresh softs with only 2-lap old soft. GMAC with the fresh tires in P4. Mosher going for track position on his mediums. We've got Dacunia and Walterby behind on fresh softs, and we have a 5-second penalty for Walterby and Dacunia. And as I said earlier, the penalty will probably stay with Walterby and go off Dacunia's time, as Walterby is behind Dacunia and has to be careful. So while everyone is behind the safety car now and warming up the tyres, we can take a closer look at the position changes right now as it stands. And as you can see, we have Jaden in P1 gaining 6 positions from his starting position in P7. D-Bizzle and Chaz with the biggest jump. D-Bizzle with 10 positions he jumped, and Chaz with 11. Of course, Chaz with much older softs than D-Bizzle. G-Mac lost 2 positions. Of course, he pitted, so he has fresh softs. And let's see what he can do against Chaz and both guys in the lead right now. Very intense 2 laps ahead of us here. Haven't seen that the safety car is coming in, but yeah, it is coming in. That means we will have a restart right now. Jaden is leading the pack and will restart right now. He's up to pace again, and we already have a position change, which results in a big crash between G-Mac and Verstappen. Verstappen out of the race. He lost the position against G-Mac. Unfortunately, we didn't catch the whole situation. But the result is G-Mac. Where is G-Mac? I can't see G-Mac. G-Mac is in P11. He must have had damage. He has a lot of damage. So he can't make use of his fresh tires. Just stepping out of the race. Horrible scenario for both of these guys. Jaden winning the restart. D-Bizzle P2. And Mr. Mosher quietly jumped up the rankings up to P3. Got Ticunia behind him now. And Ticunia, I think, with fresh softs, he has fresh softs, so he has the advantage over Moshe here, but he has to make them work. Otherwise, Moshe's staying where he is, because he got no penalties. When we take a closer look at that, Ticunia with 8 seconds right now, of course, we have to think of 5 seconds that are going off because of a collision that he didn't cause. But it's still 3 seconds. Which will stay there, and we only have 1.5 laps to go. Yutsikev already up to P5 again. Casto P6, Walter B P7, Eskimo P8, Ceresa P9, Treasure Tunnel P10, of course, G-Mac unfortunately down to P11. But we have a very close battle here between Ticunia and Yutsikev now. Ticunia, bigger gap to Moshe now. He's on the limit. He's pushing these tires as hard as he can. Yutsikev very close behind Ticunia. Of course, if we cut down the 5 seconds for Ticunia, they're both on 3 and they have to make something work. G-Mac spun. That means he's losing time to all the other guys, but he's staying where he is in P11. And Yutsikev trying to attack Ticunia here, who also is able to attack Moshe. If it comes down here, someone retired. G-Mac retired from the race. G-Mac is out of the race. And Yutsikev had a big wobble at the exit of the hairpin. That means Ticunia has a very good chance of overtaking Moshe. Both are using the ERS. They're on the same level of ERS, so it comes down to the tires. And Ticunia going for the overtake around the outside, trying to get a good exit here. But Yutsikev is already there. Yutsikev spins! Yutsikev spins, very eager on the throttle. That means Ticunia is right now safe in P4, but Casto is there. Casto's still there. He's sniffing around Ticunia to gain a position here. We have still yellow flags in Sector 2. 3-second time penalty for Casto. He was down on penalties. He had no penalties. Big chance for him to gain the position, but now he has to get it on track. Ticunia tried to get Moshe here. Very close battle between these 3 cars. Going for everything. As Jaden is crossing the line and winning the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Dibizzle finishing in P2 right now, but Moshe is claiming P2 because of penalties. Dibizzle P3, Casto P4, Instant Racer P5, Dicunia down to P6. He must have had another penalty there. Dicunia P6, Eskimo P7, Walter BPA, Trottotunnel P9, and Yutsikev finishing last in P10. What an intense race through all the laps. A lot of crashes, a lot of spins, a lot of safety cars, a lot of pit stops and wing changes, a lot of everything. Very intense, with our winner in Jaden and Moshe finishing in P2, staying cool, calm and collected. Went for track position, no penalties for him, and that's the effect of staying penalty free. Just like that, you're in P2 and on the podium. P3 goes to Dibizzle, so we have a South African and UK podium here in Abu Dhabi. What an eventful race. That was very intense. Very hard to follow everything, of course, but yeah, just try to keep track with everything. I hope you've seen all the other stuff going on, of course, on the track map. We have Jaden also with the fastest lap, who has won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Moshe finishing P2, Dibizzle P3, Casto gaining 4 positions up to P4, Instant Racer P5, Dicunia P6, Eskimo P7, Walter B finishing in P8, Fragile Tunnel P9, Yutsikev our last finisher in P10, GMAC retired on the last lap, P11, Verstappen P12, Third on P13, and Yor P14. The last 4 guys, GMAC to Yor, DNF from the race, so that means they will also start at the back on the next race. Thank you very much for tuning in, for listening to my nasty voice, and I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, of course. Have a beautiful weekend, hopefully nice weather to go out and enjoy the weather a little bit, but also don't forget to enjoy all of our lobbies we will have on the weekend. So I wish you all the best, stay healthy, and good night.